Alright guys, I want to show you something a little different from what I typically have been into. Here's just some of the parts. But this is, as of right now, February 2021. This will be the very first video of one of these mini bikes ever on YouTube. This is it here. I know the lighting isn't the best in the garage. There's not many lights right above the where the bike is here. But what this is a Speedway mini bike. It looks a lot like a Rupp. It's pretty much a knockoff of a Rupp mini bike. And there's all the information online that will tell you about these. There's one website that tells you about the history of these bikes and the years that they were made, etc. Now, this bike is not the correct color. It was repainted black. The frame is black and the gas tank is like a metallic charcoal. It is a neat color on the gas tank, but it is not the right color. You can see the original green and around the fuel tank filler. And underneath the bike, on the bottom side of the engine plate, there's a lot of green. You can see a little bit of green there where the black is chipped. But overall, this is a complete bike. I have the front fork torn off of it. I have it down in the basement. Trying to fix the front suspension on it. So we've got the front wheel and the front brake over there. This does not have the original engine. It has a 3.5 horse Tecumseh. Easy to tell because of this exhaust out the back versus out the side of the engine and going to the back of the bike. So eventually I will look for the correct 5 horse with the slant intake. But I am going to fully go through this bike and make it at least look nice again. Get it back down to the, well, I shouldn't say get it back down to the original color, but I do plan to repaint this bike the original colors. And basically just do a refurbish on it. Not necessarily a full-blown restoration, just kind of like this tractor here, just a refurbishment. I just painted the blue just so it had some color, but I left all the white alone. But what this bike is a 1974 JCPenney El-Tigre. Now don't get it confused for an El-Tigre snowmobile, because this is no way tied to Arctic at all, or whomever made the El-Tigre snowmobile. If you look at the website, it'll tell you that mid-1973 and up, they use a riveted serial tag. And 1973 serial numbers were in the 30,000. As you can tell, this one's in the 47,000. So this tells you that this is a later bike. And he only had 2 green bikes. They had a green horn in 1972, and then the El-Tigre in 1974. There's only pictures of about 2 of these bikes on Google. So as of right now, this is the 3rd one that I know of to exist. I know it's a very, very, very desirable bike. I had no clue what it was when I got it. I didn't even know the brand of it, to be honest. All I knew is that it was a mini bike with full suspension front and rear, and the prices were right. And I have ridden it around. It is pretty fast. These bikes typically do about 40 miles an hour top speed, which is pretty fast for a mini bike. But what's interesting is this bike has a license plate frame on the back, and originally it had a taillight, because this bike could have been street legal if it had all the proper paperwork and whatnot for it, and had it, I assume, insurance and a license to drive it. You probably need a motorcycle license, but I haven't looked into any of that stuff. I don't plan to run this thing down public roadways. It's kind of just going to be something to ride around on at shows and whatnot, and rip around the yard every now and then. But I did get most of the bike. I do have the original headlight, the original handlebars. I do have a NOS throttle, like twist throttle for the handlebar on its way. The only thing that the engine, or that the bike is necessarily missing or that's incorrect, is the engine. And sadly, because of that, it does not have the charging coils on it, so there's no way to run the lights without having a separate battery mounted to the frame, like behind the engine back there, kind of where that other brake lever is just resting. And then running the lights off of a battery and then charging the battery separate. So that's where that stands. Unless I manage to find a snowblower with a charging coil on it for the, like an onboard light from like an 80s snowblower. And an 80s snowblower engine would work on that mini bike as long as it's the small block 5-horse. So you will be seeing more of this in the future. Just figured I'd show you guys what the bike looks like now before I get too far into it. I would have showed it to you when it was all together, but well, it slipped my mind and I got a little anxious to start working on it. So with that being said, there's my 1974 JCPenney El-Tigre.